Well, we're back right here on the weekend show, and our guest this evening right here in the studio. We have with us Khaalid الكليب, and Khaalid is the team leader of the Kuwait Oasis Group. Khaalid, we'd like to welcome you to our program tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in your program.
Nice to have you with us right here on the weekend show. And first off, Khaalid, can you tell us about the environmental group Kuwait Oasis? When were you established, your goals and objectives, please?
Sure. Well, Kuwait Oasis is a team that is dedicated to increasing the green footprint in the deserts of Kuwait. So our mission is focused on increasing the green footprint in the deserts. We don't do any activities of plantation within the city or in schools or anywhere. We're just focused on that mission. We are part of a larger entity, which is called the Environmental Voluntary Foundation. It's a non-profit body that has three different teams. We have Kuwait Oasis, Kuwait Diving Team, which is a 19 years old team that has been rescuing and salvaging the marine environment in Kuwait. And we have a beach cleanup unit within our entity that organizes events for beach cleanups for kids at school, groups who are interested to do such kind of activities. We at Kuwait Oasis, we were established 3 years ago, and the whole idea was about motivating people and encouraging people to do positive practices to their deserts, which has been consumed a lot by either civilizations or the wars that Kuwait has gone through, from the Saddam invasion to Kuwait to the liberation process and then the liberation of Iraq. So it has caused a lot of negative impact on that environment, and we are trying to revitalize the Kuwaiti deserts by planting trees in designated spots.
I believe you have two main projects that you're working on. Can you take some time to explain about those two main projects, please, Khalid?
Sure. Well, our first project, which we kicked off our activities with, is called the Kuwait Oasis Project. And basically, we started getting approvals from the governmental agencies in Kuwait to plant predefined areas within the deserts in the civilian territory. So we choose an area and we install irrigation systems and we try to plant deserts. And these projects are funded by either individuals or companies. We are very fortunate to get two major partners who helped us in planting these areas. One of them is Viva Telecom, and the other one is Nathan, the hot dog food chain. And we have planted more than 6,000 trees in these areas, which are now totally independent. We don't even irrigate them. The trees are self-sufficient. They survive the desert. And as you can see, here are some groups of volunteers who have helped us in some of our activities.
I'm sure volunteers are essential for this group, correct, Khalid?
Definitely. They're actually our fuel to push our activities forward and to help us in our activities. Our whole program is a non-profit program. So we rely on the participation of the civic society, the corporate and the governmental participation. Our second project, which we kicked off a year ago, it's called Kuwait's Green Wall. So Kuwait's Green Wall is basically reinstating the green soldiers on the borders of Kuwait. It's about planting 3 rows of trees around the Kuwaiti borders. It's a stretch of 420 kilometers, and we anticipate to plant 315,000 trees along that line. This program is expected to take us 10 years to conclude. It did start a year ago, and our activities are going on all year long, starting from like planting the tree, observing the growth, and irrigating these trees to make sure that they find their way to life.
Well, how do you choose the locations where you start the irrigation process and the planting? I believe you use the latest technologies and the latest irrigation processes.
Sure. When we first started our activities planting oases, which was like just few thousand trees, using the technology of drip irrigation was feasible and sustainable to our objectives. So, but as we planned our larger scale project, which is Kuwait's Green Wall, and due to the larger number of trees, when we have observed and calculated the consumption of water that we have used with the drip irrigation technology, we found out that each tree consumed 20 liters of water per week. So if you multiply this number to 315,000 trees, that means we are truly making a positive impact by planting trees, but we are consuming a sacred resource, which is water. So we came across this technology. It's a Dutch technology called the water box, founded by the inventor Peter Hoff. And this technology is all about the idea of giving trees the right amount of water that helps the tree survive. Trees do not require an excess amount of water to survive, but the more you irrigate them, the greener they become, the more density of leaves that they have. So this technology, when we have studied it and implemented it in our testing phase, we found out that each tree consumed 30 liters of water per year in comparison to 20 per week. So that's a total conservation of 1,500 liters of water per tree per year. So right there we said, like, bingo, we have a sustainable project.
So and let's talk about the long term. What are the overall benefits that the country and I guess the region would have from these two main projects that you're...
Okay, well, the outcomes of this project and the positive impacts are numerous. There are things that we account for, and there are things that we might not even be able to tell right now. But we know that planting these trees will create housing for migrating birds when they migrate through Kuwait during the migration season. We know that these trees will stimulate other forms of life around them. Bringing back these insects that are almost endangered. When was the last time you have seen a ladybird in your backyard? When was the last time you've seen a bee in your school garden? I bet these ants, some of the kids don't even see these kind of species anymore. So we think that planting these trees in the areas that we perform is going to stimulate other forms of life. Not to mention reducing the carbon dioxide levels, not to mention increasing the moisture level, and putting in more oxygen into the air that we breathe. So we think this project is a stimulus project, and it could ignite other individuals and institutions to take similar approaches to work wherever they work to help our environment to flourish.
Khaled, what are some of the plants or trees that you've planted? You said earlier on, one of the first project, 6,000 have been planted at different areas. Tell us about that a little more also.
Okay, well, when we wanted to plant trees in the deserts, we know that we will be dealing with a very harsh environment, you know, extreme weather situations. Temperatures rise up all the way to 60 or 70 degrees during the summers. The amount of water surrounding the trees is almost non-existent. So we had to predefine species that would survive these harsh factors, let's say. So we relied on some readings and studies that have been conducted by Kuwait Institute of Scientific Research. And there have been a couple of trees that we found out that they could survive these. One of them falls under the family of acacia,